Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame fam, fantasy baseball players. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. We're getting you caught up what's happened so far this week and getting you ready for the rest of the week. And Pierre, we do actually have some news this week, some returns of some players that may help out your fantasy team. Are you ready?
Let's do it. Of course, the Yankees and the Red Sox have to dominate the headlines, as always.
And the Dodgers a little bit, right? But let's start with the Yankees. DJ LeMahieu has been DFA'd and Jazz back to second base. So, what does this mean for fantasy?
I think it means the Yankees are definitely making a trade here. I think we already knew there was a good chance, but yeah, Jazz, as I mentioned on the video that just came out today, I think moving back to second base might help a little more than realize. He's been hitting pretty well, but when a guy's struggling and in the field, it's got to affect him to some extent mentally, but also, if that shoulder is bothering him enough that he can't throw across the field from third to first, yeah, eventually it's going to bother him at the plate too. So this is kind of a relief here. But I'm going to wait a little bit, maybe next week, as we are actually on break, at least the baseball world is, to figure out, well, who are the Yankees going to get? It might be somebody that you don't love, like Ryan McMahon. I mean, he's kind of a logical fit there. We'll talk about some trade candidates. I mean, it just solidifies the Yankees got to do something. Well, maybe he wasn't the answer anyways. But yeah, he has not been fantasy relevant for quite a while now. I think it's official.
It's definitely official now. All right, let's talk about those Red Sox and Dodgers, starting with the Red Sox. Masataka Yoshida is back for the Red Sox. First game today, went 1-for-1. All right, that's pretty good. But this guy's been a pretty productive hitter the last couple of years with the Red Sox. What are you expecting from Yoshida now that he's back and for the second half of the year?
My expectations are not really that high because I feel like even last year before injury, I mean, early ever since Yoshida's been with Boston, hasn't quite lived up to my expectations. I thought there would be more power there. I thought he would hit for average more so. And, yeah, injuries, but even before he was injured, I just don't feel like he has quite, been as productive a player as they wanted and what I think he should be able to do. So the thing is also, there's not a clear path here. They've got a young outfield for sure, but a talented outfield. Do they even want him playing the field if he DHs? That takes away from somebody else. I just don't know if he's getting enough regular at bats to really be fantasy relevant. So I'm not going to say he's a strong waiver wire add. They're going to slow play him anyways. An interesting name, but one I'm not going to go crazy for in fantasy until we see a lot more at bats under his belt and then see exactly how he's used.
All right, so don't go crazy for Yoshida. But what about a guy? I mean, look, Tyler Glasnow, not on your waiver wire because whoever drafted Tyler Glasnow has probably been stashing him on the IL or should have been stashing him on the IL. Came back to pitch today, hadn't pitched since April, of course. And look, he was pretty good. I mean, 5 innings pitched, didn't give up an earned run, only 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. So if you got Glasnow, is he just a must start from here on out?
Oh, yeah. Absolute must start. He's one I said a couple weeks ago before we know he's coming back. Try to buy low. I tried in our league, didn't work. Hey, it's not, you're not always going to be able to pull it off, but try. Yeah, I think he could be legitimate ace down the stretch because, I mean, we know what he's capable of. And now he's had this time to rest. It wasn't, what you would call it was significant with how much time he missed, but not serious of an injury where it's, I'm not too worried about re-aggravation here. So yeah, Glasnow, all systems go, fire mode.
All right. Now, it's July. That means the All-Star game, but it also means the trade deadline. End of this month is the trade deadline. Any names you're looking at as potential trade candidates that could make their fantasy value go up or go down?
Yeah, there's a lot. I feel like there's enough that I'm probably going to put together a full video just talking about guys who actually will see their fantasy, significance maybe increase with a trade, because just because it gets traded doesn't mean it's always good, right? It might be good for the team who wants him, doesn't mean it's good for him in fantasy. Sometimes going to a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees or whatever, it means they're a role player, right? It means, you're going to be adding to our depth. You're going to be our strong right-handed, bat off the bench against lefties. It doesn't mean that they're going to be playing every day. So I'll break down who actually might be helped by a trade and where they might go. I mentioned Ryan McMahon. If he goes to the Yankees, no guarantee he plays every day, but at the same time, it's got to be better. Not all of them are going to be worth adding, but I'll go into detail. I've talked about Sandy Alcantara basically all season. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I really think he could be valuable once he goes somewhere else.
All right. Well, then in that same vein, what about teams you think maybe either trading away players or trading for players based on what they need and where they're at in the standings? Got any good feelings about teams that could be sellers, teams that could be buyers?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're guessing right now because we still have a couple of weeks, and they are going to spend this time. The teams are, the GMs, assessing where they are. Are they serious? Just listen to the the reporters, the trustworthy ones, and try to figure out. The Diamondbacks keep saying like, no, we want to make a run. We'll figure it out. I'm not gonna figure. What are you gonna figure out, right? You can only pull so many guys from the minors, and they're not that deep. Everybody's hurt. Look, it's fine. Call it a season. You know what? Get what you can. Get back at it next year. It's okay, right? And I keep talking about the Red Sox. I mean, I just think it makes sense for them to try to just go all in the youth movement. Might even wind up better doing that than trying to add guys through free agency. So just kind of take a listen to what some of these teams, you think they're going to do, and then just be prepared for the chaos because it's going to happen pretty soon.
Yep, it's going to happen pretty soon. And then speaking of chaos, we do have the All-Star game next week, I believe, which always creates chaos in fantasy because like the All-Star, like if I remember right, that week, like that matchup you have, if you're in your head-to-head leagues, it goes like 2 weeks or something to cover the All-Star break. It's really weird because I remember when I was trying to stream last year, I was like, oh, I already used all my waiver claims and we still have another week to go or something. So do you have any teams, like any advice, I guess, or things you could do for that week with the All-Star game with how to handle that extra week if you're in those head-to-head type of leagues?
Don't get complacent. Don't just sit there. I mean, okay, enjoy the break. You don't have to check your lineups anymore. Fine. But this is a perfect time for you to check your standings in fantasy to see what do you need, right? At roster spots, where can you improve? Am I really going to be happy with whoever I got at third base the rest of the season? Can I try to make a move? Do all those things. It's a good time to sit back and rather than checking who did what each day is what do I need? How can I make my team better? And that includes in the actual statistics as well, because we play weekly leagues, and so every week's a different adventure. But if you're in a roto league, if you got a deficit in average, in steals, if you have a strength in saves and wins, whatever it is, deal from strength, and try to improve where you can in terms of your weaknesses.
All right, there you go. But we still got this week to get through. And of course, you want to take home the W this week or just add as many stats as you can to those categories in your roto leagues. And that's why we're here to answer your questions and to help you out. And of course, as always, if you're impatient and you don't want to wait and you want to jump to the front of the line, you can drop that super chat. That will get you right to the front of the line. Not a necessity, but if you don't want to wait, we'll try to get through as many questions as we can for about the next 45 to 50 minutes here. And of course, I do want to remind you, you see it scrolling down there. If you need another way to get your MLB fantasy fix in, you can go check out Underdog Fantasy, where they have MLB picks every day of the year. In fact, they'll even have MLB picks for the Home Run Derby, the All-Star game. I mean, they'll have it for everything here. It's a ton of fun. So check it out. Go to Underdog, use promo code ENDGAME, because that's going to get you a free pick that can get you a win right off the bat, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash, depending on how much you deposit. So check it out. Underdog Fantasy, use promo code ENDGAME. All right, Pierre, are you ready to answer the questions?
Ready Let's go.
All right, Doyle, first one here. What's up, Doyle? All right, Mr. Ian Happ. I've had Ian Happ all year. Ian Happ has had like weeks of brilliance and weeks of just absolute disappearance. Are you concerned for Ian Happ?
It's interesting. Ian Happ, well, you know what he's had? He's had one good month and a lot of really bad months. Like on the one hand, am I concerned about Happ? No, because this isn't that unusual for him. Really, he is a streaky player, and there's nothing that jumps out. That this particular stat, this particular metric. There's not anything going on here. He's going through right now because he just came off of his hot streak. It's really that's funny for me because I don't have an Ian Happ on my team. But Chris, you know this. In June, 9 home runs, 22 RBIs. That's a good month.
Yep.
Every other month combined, including July, 3 home runs and 23 RBIs. It's not ideal.
No.
Bench him for sure. I mean, I hope you already have. If you want to drop him, are you really going to miss him? Are you going to be sad? At some point in like August, is he going to get hot again? Yeah, he probably will. Do you know exactly when that's going to happen? No, you don't. So it's up to you. If you can afford to stash him, that's fine. But he's also not a guy who's going to absolutely crush, pitching for a week, 2 weeks straight, and then continue it. So is he better than like another guy you could pick up and stream off the waiver wire? I don't think so.
Yeah, I haven't dropped him yet, but I've definitely benched him. I've been playing Stanton over him. I'm like, at least Stanton gives me power sometimes and the occasional RBI. Like I will say, early in the season, Ian Happ was scoring a lot of runs. Like when the Cubs were scoring a bazillion runs every game, he was scoring a bunch of runs. But even that's dried up. Even that, like it was like, all right, he's at least he goes like 1 for 4 with like 2 runs or something. Like okay, fine, I'll take my couple runs. It's fine. Even that.
Yeah, you can't score if you never get on base. That's a problem.
that is a problem. That is a problem. All right, Doyle also wants to know if you can rank these pitchers in a category league. You say Kikuchi, who finally had a kind of a down game. Yuri Perez, Edward Cabrera, Chase Burns. How do you rank them? I assume rest of the season.
Man, okay. You're testing my faith here. How much faith do I have in Yuri after 2 pretty good starts? I think I'd still put Kikuchi top because he's had an extended run. Really, almost this entire season, he hasn't had as many disastrous starts, and he's had some really good starts. I think Kikuchi's still first. I'm putting Cabrera second because I feel like he's figured it out. He has been rock solid. Perez and Chase Burns. I mean, I think you got to put Chase Burns last for now until we see that he shows any sort of consistency. He's going to have flashes of brilliance, and then he's going to have, some times where he just gets lit up. So I think I'll put Kikuchi, Cabrera, Perez, Burns.
All right, thank you. And then let's go to Scott in a 10-team head-to-head on-base percentage category league. Would you drop Nico Hoerner for Otto Lopez?
Yeah, in a 10-team league, there's not many people you can't drop if they're cold. The thing with it's a head-to-head league, Hoerner, his appeal is steals, right? In a roto league, very helpful, and runs scored to some extent. But in a weekly league, no, I don't think it's that big of an advantage. So, yeah, you can do this.
All right, then fantasy sports, what's up? Drop one outfielder in redraft head-to-head points league. Tyler Ward, Kyle Stowers, or your boy, who's now on my team, Jurickson Profar.
Yes, he is. We're going to get into that. Drop one. I'll say in a points league, I'm dropping Ward. Profar is a stud in a points format, and Stowers, all-star, officially all-star, Kyle Stowers. He's been good all year. I'm dropping Ward.
All right, and then what's up? Andrea's here. What's up, Andrea? All right, but Harry wants to know, rank these starting pitchers: Will Warren, Sheehan, and Ryan Nelson.
I'm going to put Sheehan last because, again, Glasnow's back. At some point, maybe Blake Snell is back. I'm not even holding out hope for Sasaki, but still, point remains now with Kershaw also in the mix. Sheehan not guaranteed to stick in the rotation. Can't put him above those two. I'll go Warren first over Nelson. But again, I feel like this is the same as last time. You want strikeouts, wins, but a little bit riskier with your ratios is Will Warren. You want good ratios, not so much strikeouts, not so much wins. It's Ryan Nelson. So pick what you prefer, but I'll go Warren a little bit over Nelson.
All right, and then I'm with Knucklehead Paul B here. What's up, Paul? All right, I jokingly posted this morning in the Freddie Freeman Yahoo chat, which is always, if you want the experience, going to player Yahoo chats. It's quite the experience. I jokingly posed a question: Freeman or an empty first base spot? And you know what I wish I did today? I wish I just had an empty first base spot. And I felt that way for about a month now. I mean, a month now. This guy is absolutely awful. Last month, 216 with 1 home run. This guy has 1 home run in the last month. All right. I know you keep saying he's going to turn it around. I keep asking when. He does. He's 35 years old. Let's not forget he's 35 years old.
Yeah, let's give this guy a break. He's tired. Come on, he's out there every day.
I can't have a tired guy in my lineup. I need a guy who's got energy, ready to play.
Not a good selling point. No, okay.
No, not a good selling point.
They're getting the All-Star break. He'll be fine. Look, even as bad as he's been, he's almost hitting 300. He's hitting 299 right now.
Yeah, because he was batting like 380 at one point. Now he's all the way down. What is he at? He's at 303 because of the last month he can't get a hit.
Yeah, so that's called regression. Look, and then one thing and you should have known this before the season, and I already said this before the season, is you're not getting steals anymore. That Freddie Freeman is gone, right?
That's
the 20 steals. But you know that. You knew that. Okay. The power is still there. Like, there's nothing that alarms me. I mean, his exit velocity is still pretty good. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Now, you want to sit him for the next couple of days while he, makes his plans for the All-Star break? Fine. But definitely don't do anything crazy like drop him.
You can't. Yahoo, he's somehow on the can't cut list.
Oh, good. If you're on Yahoo, that's good. I'm not selling. Look, if you're selling, what are you going to get for him? That's going to be better. Well,
you can't trade him right now because what are you getting for him right now? He's been terrible.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Don't do something, that you're going to regret, like trade him for like a Michael Bush or something. Oh, Michael Bush is on fire. Come on, look, let's be real. So don't do something like that. You're just going to wait it out.
All right. You and me, Paul, and many other Freeman fantasy managers just got to wait it out and hope he's not dust. I
tried. Like, Freeman was mine that he went to your team, right? Or I tried to trade him early in the season. Well, now I tried to get him back.
You traded him to me.
I tried to get him back, and you're like, I don't want to trade.
Well, the problem is your only first baseman is Nick Kurtz, and honestly, I thought about just being like, maybe I would just prefer Nick Kurtz to Freddie Freeman at this point. I don't know.
I like my Nick Kurtz.
I know. But see, that's the problem. Like, if I trade Freddie Freeman, I have no first baseman, and I looked at the waiver wire, I'm like, am I going to go back to Jake Berger? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Explain this one to me like I'm 5 years old. There is a closer who has 40 strikeouts in 32 innings, 21 saves this year, a 2.48 ERA, a 1.19 whip. He's only 85% rostered. It's almost the All-Star break, and Ryan is asking, is Trevor McGill a solid ad?
I think he, and again, let's say All-Star Trevor McGill, who, you can argue whether that's deserved. I mean, he's been fine. A solid ad, yes, I would say. Now, I don't know. Maybe he's asking
5th in saves. He's 5th.
It's possible that he's asking about Tyler McGill. Maybe he's got his McGills mixed up. It's possible.
Maybe. Okay, that would make more sense.
But Tyler McGill is hurt too, so that doesn't make sense. Trevor McGill shouldn't be a solid ad because he shouldn't be on waivers. So yes, pick him up.
Guy's 5th in saves. 5th in saves. He's still only 85. I guess there's 15% of leagues don't use saves. I can only assume. All right, we got a spicy trade here. Josh traded Jackson Holiday and the Miz. How many batters did the Miz strike out last night? Like 15? 13?
I think it was like 12. 14? But it was the Dodgers.
27? Yeah, I guess he made Shohei look ridiculous. Oh, aside from the home run he hit in the first inning, he made Shohei look. I mean, the Miz just striking out everybody. He doesn't even care. Doesn't care who you are. He's just striking you out. He doesn't care who you are. Aaron Judge, you go sit down. Shohei, you go sit down. I don't care. He hasn't faced Cal Raleigh yet, so we'll see. But
that's the true test.
That's a true test. All right, but he traded Holiday and the Miz for Max Fried and Matt Wallner. How do you do?
I mean, okay, so I still think as amazing as Miz has looked, I'm going to take Fried over him, right? Because we know Fried is one of the best pitchers in baseball. So you're offsetting that with Holiday, Wallner. This is fair. I was a huge Matt Wallner fan. I thought he was going to be a great draft value, right? One of these sneaky sleepers. And so I'm waiting on Wallner to come around. I don't love giving up Holiday for Wallner. I mean, if he does come around, then I guess that's fine. But I still don't think this is a loss because you got Max Fried. You got the best player in this deal. So I think that's fine. I mean, if you're trading Holiday, I assume you don't need him to start. Like you already have a decent second baseman. So I'm okay with this.
All right. And then Ryan again wants to know what's your thoughts on Jose Quintana? Just had a nice outing against the Dodgers, who are ice cold right now. 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, only 1 earned run. What are your thoughts?
He's streamable. Quintana is a crafty veteran. You can stream him in good matchups. This explains, it's still not a good explanation, but this explains why McGill might have been out there. 10-man league. It's not a 12-man. Still, even a 10-man league, an 8-man league, if saves count, McGill should not be on waivers.
He's 5th in saves, even in a 10-man league. He's a top 5 closer.
Exactly.
Unless you're in a 4-man league. But even then, you could probably start multiple closers.
You can pick up Quintana. He's fine.
All right. Noelve Marte, who has not been the same guy since he was popped for steroids. Would you drop him for Sheehan, though, in categories?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, Marte might come around, at some point, but he's obviously not doing it yet, so he's droppable. Put it that way. He's not a must hold. Sheehan, as long as he's starting, then sure, you can do this. Just be prepared to cut bait, which I know you'll do, Yui, because you're always active.
Yes. All right, Skywalker. I feel like, is Skywalker asked this question every stream? I feel like we get this same question every stream. All right, if we're rank in order these who are the top 2 IL stashes out of these guys? Spencer Schwellenbach, Bailey Ober, Bryce Miller, Spencer Arrighetti, Nestor Cortez, Luis Garcia. I don't think Cortez is making the list.
Nestor, yeah, this is a first time in a long time we've had a Nestor Cortez mention. Well, realistically, I mean, Schwellenbach is the best, has been the best this year of those pitchers, but he's not coming back anytime before September. Arrighetti has to be number 1 because he's actually on the way back, and you will see him hopefully early August. So then you got to decide what's more important, having that pitcher who is really good and might not pitch till September, or having a guy who has, for some reason, been really bad but might come back sooner, like Bryce Miller. If you drop him, is anybody rushing out to pick up Bryce Miller? Probably not. So I'll say Arrighetti and Schwellenbach. Because you know what? Right. Actually, now I think about it, Arrighetti's coming back soon. He's not going to be on the IL. You have that IL spot open. Then if you really want, you can stash Bryce Miller.
There you go. Play chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
Yep.
Alyssa Dolphin Cloud, what's up? Team is struggling because, as you can see, she's got Freddie Freeman. And when you got Freddie Freeman, your team is probably in a bit of a slump because you get 0 for 4s, 0 for 5s. I think there's he grounded out with the bases loaded today or something. It was brutal. Freeman, Pajas, and Profar. Would you look to pick up Marcelo Zuna, Nick Castellanos, or Tyler Soderstrom off of waivers, or just ride out the storm?
This must be somewhat of a shallow league if those guys are on waivers, but I'm not going to replace. No, I mean, the answer is no. I'm not going to replace those players with any of those. The only one I might is, if Profar is cold, you could replace him with like an Ozuna. But no, I don't think I'm going to worry about any of those top 3 guys. Soderstrom's been been slumping for a while now. He hasn't given much power. Ozuna, I'm worried about. Well, first of all, Ozuna might get traded. We'll see. That's another one of those teams. Maybe could go either way. Atlanta, right? And if Ozuna goes somewhere else, I'm not sure if it's a good thing. So no, I would just ride the storm out.
Yeah, gotta ride out the storm, I think. All right, TM, Nick Kurtz or Vinny P? Head-to-head points. Who you prefer?
I'm going Nick Kurtz. He has figured it out. I mean, what's stopping this guy? Nothing. Kurtz all the way. The Colonel.
All right, back to Paul. Back to Paul B and Freddie Freeman. He elaborated a bit on
pile on the slander, the Freeman slander.
All right, but he added on. He's got Nick Kurtz and Cody Bellinger. So would you just at this point just trade Freeman for a pitcher?
Okay, well, that's reasonable. You can do that because I know you're saying, well, what are you going to get for Freddie Freeman? If somebody needs a first baseman, look, Freddie Freeman is a known commodity. I mean, he's sort of a future Hall of Famer, and he's not been that bad. I know he's not been that bad this season. Yeah, I would do that. It's a points league, a starting pitcher. You should still be able to get a pretty good starting pitcher. Maybe nowadays you don't get a Max Fried, a Paul Skeens type, but you should be able to get somebody who's still pretty good.
All right, go do it since you got good first basemen. I wish I had your first basemen and not Freddie Freeman. All right, who is the ad priority between Sheehan, Edward Cabrera, Hauser, and Trevor Rogers?
Must be Trevor Rogers. I'm not a believer in Trevor Rogers. Hauser's, he's probably going to get dealt also, which might be good for him. I'll go Cabrera. He's my first choice.
All right, and welcome back, Ocho Cinco. Now from football to baseball. He needs to cut one for Bregman returning. Austin Hayes, Luis Robert Jr., Cam Smith, Shea Langoliers, or Kirk. So I guess he got two catchers.
Yeah, and that's fine if you're mixing and matching. You get different things from each one. I think we know the answer to this. You know the answer to this.
Yeah, is Luis Robert Jr. still a thing?
He shouldn't be a thing. I guess if you're hoping he gets traded and then somehow that makes him not hit below 200, but you can drop Robert.
Yeah, this guy's batting 185 with 8. I mean, I'm over here complaining about Freeman. At least I don't have this guy.
Exactly.
All right, N6 RCS, he's back. What's up? Just saw the most recent video, the buy low video. So would you drop Hauser or Reese Olson for Tanner Bibby?
Oh, so he's on waivers. All right, well, that's perfect. You don't have to buy low. You just pick him up. I'll drop Hauser. I still like Reese Olson. Hauser is, one of these guys. He's overachieving. Not too exciting, though. Just drop Brooks Lee for Yoshida. Okay, that's fine. I do like Brooks Lee, generally speaking. But if he's like your utility, well, I'll say this. I mean, look, I would prefer Brooks Lee because Lee is kind of that Swiss Army knife. You can put him at second, third, short. He plays pretty much every day. I like Brooks Lee, and I just told you I'm not too excited about Yoshida. But it's fine. It's probably these guys are bench bats for you anyways.
All right. And then back to Uwe. What's up? Any worry about Jacob Wilson in the second half? He's starting to slow down.
Well, I mean, right now we're worried he's not playing because he's a little banged up, but I'm not going to worry about his average. Is he going to slow down? He might not, because this guy, again, he's like the new, better version of Luis Arraez. He's going to bat way over. He's going to win the batting title. All right, let's put it this way. He's probably going to win the batting title. The home runs are surprising. He's up to 9 now, I think. I mean, that's surprising, but I'm not expecting 20 home runs. If you expect that, then no. But am I worried about him in the second half? Nope.
All right, not worried. Kyle wants to know Chase Burns or a lot of Sheehan questions. Chase Burns or Sheehan?
Well, yep, it's the Dodgers, right? Dodgers always get the publicity. I'm going to go Chase Burns because he's sticking in the rotation, and he is more talented stuff-wise than Sheehan. Sheehan, of course, gives you better chance for a win being in the Dodgers, but I'm going to go Burns.
All right, and then Durf Boy, what's up? The Miz, Chase Burns, and Kikuchi have all been dropped in his Roto League, but he can only pick up one of them.
What? Someone
So
dropped
he's only got room for one. There can be only one. Who will it be?
Someone. So Mizurowski, he was so good against the Dodgers that whoever had him was like, that's it. He'll never do that again.
How do you drop Mizurowski after what this guy has done so far?
It's obviously the Miz. I mean, these guys all should be in, unless this is an 8-team league or maybe a 10-teamer. But yeah, get Miz.
Yeah, what is this guy? This guy's 33 strikeouts already. Jeez. All right, fantasy sports again. Oh, that's an interesting question. You know what I'm going to say to this, but what do you say to this? Nick Kurtz will be drafted as a number what first baseman next year? What? Where is he going to rank among first basemen going into 2025 or 2026? I guess we're in 2025.
Where is he going to be ranked?
Is he going to be a top 5 first baseman? Top 10?
He'll probably be like right outside the top 10, I think. Maybe just inside. Because even though I would take him over a guy like Matt Olson, and maybe he should be ranked over a guy like Matt Olson, he's not going to be, right? Most people will just like, oh, but remember what Olson did back in 2023. And so I don't think he's going to jump over all of those top players, but I think fringe top 10.
Fringe top 10. All right.
Now, this to a large extent depends on September, how he finishes the season, because that's going to stick in everybody's mind, right? If he finishes strong, if he finishes the season like close to 30 home runs, then yeah, maybe he jumps way up, but we'll see.
All right. Harry Brooks said he traded away Jacob deGrom for Austin Riley 5 weeks ago. How'd he do?
To be determined. I did say Austin Riley was a nice buy low. I wouldn't say that's low because Jacob deGrom has been pretty filthy this year, but I think it should be fine for you because, yes, Riley does generally get hot in July and August, as I mentioned. So, it should pay off.
All right, then Doyle wants to know, I don't think the question here is really, is TJ Friedl worth a roster spot? It's like, the question is really, would you drop TJ Friedl for either Spencer Torkelson or Nick Kurtz?
Nick Kurtz it is, yes.
All right. And then Skywalker wants to know, what, if any, starting pitcher can you target for a trade with Vinny P in a head-to-head points league?
It's going to be more like a number 4 type of starter, 3 or 4. I mean, points league, I guess, a little more valuable. You're not getting an ace, so we want some specific names. Now, again, this really is going to depend on who in your league really wants or needs a first baseman. I guess maybe the Freddie Freeman owner, huh? Realistic, good targets that are actually worth doing. Casey Mize, maybe you can get Casey Mize, Nick Lodolo type. You could try, if you can be patient, to buy low on Hunter Green, who just kind of had some bad news. But if he's coming back this season, it might be worth it. But that's a huge risk if you want to do that. Maybe Ryan Pepio, you could aim for somebody like that.
All right, there you go. Thank you for that. And then Jeff wants to know, with Sean Manaea coming off the IL, would you drop Yuri Perez, Jesus Luzardo, or just drop Manaea himself?
Well, Jesus Luzardo, thankfully, because I did buy low on him a few weeks ago, he just had I think a pretty dominant start today. I'm not dropping Luzardo. So between Perez and Manaea, I think I would probably just drop Manaea.
All right. Drop Manaea. Let's talk about another struggling Dodger. Mookie Betts. Is he dust? He is struggling. And you know who's not struggling anymore? Corey Seager. So who would you rather have rest of the season? Mookie, who was like a first, second round pick, or Corey Seager?
Well, that's the thing. Now, Mookie is the guy you should be worried about. Mookie hasn't been good really at all this season, and there are reasons. I don't know if Moogie's going to turn around. I can't call him a buy low. I can't say I think he's due for a good second half. And there's a reason for this, because remember he had that odd illness virus or something like right when the season started, and they say he lost like 20 pounds or something. He hasn't recovered. And if you look, I was looking at this the other day, the bat speed is down, the exit velocity is down. Like I'm worried. So right now I think I'm going to go Corey Seager.
Corey Seager's been red hot after a terrible month. He had like a terrible month, but he's been red hot, so that's good. Hopefully he keeps it going rest of the season out. The weather's warm. All right, bet on it, guy. Who would you rather have in the second half, Luke Keeschel or Vaughn Grissom?
Vaughn Grissom. Wow, I haven't heard anything about Vaughn Grissom lately. I was a big Vaughn Grissom fan last year. I think I'm pretty done with him, but I'm a huge Keeschel fan. Yeah, and Keeschel, I think he started taking some swings. We might see him end of July. Give me Keeschel. I don't even know if Vaughn Grissom has a path to a job. I don't know what you've heard about him lately. I guess I should look it up, but I don't know what I could hear that would make me want to pick up Vaughn Grissom right now.
All right, and then Satch, what's up? Says if he's got Yandy Diaz and Bryce Harper, would you deal one for a guy in the Logan Webb or slightly worse tier of player if his pitching is not so great?
Especially Bryce Harper back. Yandy's been hot. Yandy Diaz is a solid player, but give me, especially if you need pitching, give me the solid pitcher. I don't think you can get Logan Webb for him. But yeah, maybe slightly worse tier. Exactly. You're exactly right. So, Andrew Abbott just had a bad start, but he's been good all year. If you want to take a chance on him, you should probably probably should be able to get somebody like him for Yandy, though he's been good today, but still, you never know. You never know how people value their pitchers. Realistically, you're going to have to target some player in your league or some team that needs help at first base and happens to have enough pitching that they can part with.
All right, and then Drew Skilosa. Let's talk about this year's Julio Rodriguez. Jackson Merrill. All sorts of hype on another young player who has never proven he deserves the hype. Has a whopping 5 home runs and one stolen base this year. Are you ready to drop Jackson Merrill?
Can't drop him, and especially in a 14-teamer, nah, you cannot drop a guy that talented in that deep a league. You can bench him, but don't drop him. I also have intentionally omitted Jackson Merrill from the buy low list because I'm not buying on him because I don't think he's going to produce like he did at the end of last year. But he's not a drop. He'll get better in terms of batting average at some point. Just don't expect the steals necessarily to come back in the power mainly. Honestly, last year. And again, you think it, but then you're like, well, how am I going to doubt what I saw? I saw the guy, hit 20 home runs. He's not a power hitter. So his last year's power, even though it wasn't amazing, it was a little surprising to me, right? Because that's not his tool. It's not his strength. When you have a good rookie year, it was a really good rookie year. And when you sign a fat contract and when teams know about you, they pitch you differently, right? So I don't love Jackson Merrill the rest of the season, but you can't drop him either.
All right. Well, I'm happy I traded him away. I've not regretted it.
You can trade him, but I don't know. Right now, it's like, pennies on the dollar.
True. All right. Kevin Ginkel, he's back. Got a save the other night. Is he worth a pickup for saves?
I only have picked him up in an NL only league. And if you know NL only leagues, like anybody with a pulse is worth picking up. So, okay, if you're desperate for saves, sure. If you're willing to, just know that you're going to offset the random saves with some bad ratios, sure. But they also have said not only has Ginkel not been great this year, I think the manager said that it's not like he's the guy. It's going to be a mix and match. I don't even know who they're mixing and matching with. They don't even have anybody worth being a closer, but this is a desperation only pickup.
Desperation only. All right. Bet on it guy wants to know Noah Cameron coming off a very nice start. Can he keep up this stud pitching or is he a sell high?
Sell high. Because you remember he was on the 2-start streamer video because of the schedule. Who did he face? Faced the Pirates. Dominated the Pirates. He had been trending downward before that, and he still has some value, but if you can sell high, I would sell high.
All right, sell high if you can. Kyle wants to know, are Yuri Perez and Edward Cabrera here to stay? And if you had to pick one, who do you like better to keep?
Yeah, I kind of answered this earlier. Between the two, I'm going Cabrera. Are they here? I hope so. Again, selfishly as a Marlins fan, I hope so. The talent has never been the issue. That's never been a question. They have stuff. They have arm talent. You need more than that to be a good pitcher in the major league. So Cabrera seems like he's figured it out, and there's a specific reason because of the change in the pitch mix. So I will believe in that. Perez, I'll believe in it more when I see him beat better teams more than just like twice in a row.
All right. And then who would you rather have in the second half, Pablo Lopez or Spencer Arrighetti?
I think you got to go Arrighetti because we don't know when Lopez is coming back. His timeline was 3 to 4 months. We're not, I don't think, even halfway there. So let's go Arrighetti.
All right, go Arrighetti. And then Benjamin wants to know, Matt Olson or Spencer Torkelson in a Roto League rest of season? Head-to-head Roto League rest of season. Who you like?
Well, they're kind of the same guy now, aren't they? I think I would still lean Olson, but they're kind of the same guy. You know, Torkelson got a lot of his production in the very beginning of the season. He's been okay still, the occasional home run. I'll slightly lean Olson, but the real answer here is choice C, Nick Kurtz.
Nick Kurtz.
If that were an option.
All right, back to Alyssa. What's up? She wants to know rest of the season. Who do you like, Grant Holmes or Jesus Luzardo?
I like Luzardo better in general. I know Holmes has been striking out a ton of batters. Holmes has been legit. So I'm going to give Luzardo the edge, but these are both good ads.
All right, and then James Coffey, what's up? He's in a weekly categories league. Would you drop? Oh, back. All right, here we go.
What?
Somebody said, I've had enough, and they dropped Freddie Freeman. And now James wants to say, I've had enough, and I'm going to drop Jackson Merrill. So if Freddie Freeman is on the waiver wire, is that enough for you to drop Jackson Merrill?
Well, I don't know how shallow this league is, but this must not be on Yahoo, right? Because you said he's even on the can't cut list. Cut a guy on the can't cut. Pick up Freddie Freeman. Pick him up. I mean, is there? I know it's shallow, but really, is Jackson Merrill your worst player? I mean, if he is, fine.
He might be.
I guess so.
He might be. I mean, at what point? Like, I remember last year, everybody's like, Julio's going to turn around. Julio's going to turn around. At what point do you just say, like, okay, he's a bust, get rid of him? He's a bust, get rid of him. Like, at what point do we just say, okay, Jackson Merrill's probably going to be a bust this year? He's got 5 home runs and 1 steal. He's batting like 260.
But
like, I think I could find 5 home runs and a steal on the waiver wire. I think, and I'm not even that good.
Yeah.
I think I could find it.
Oh yeah, no, you could. The thing with Merrill, if you remember too, like, okay, he was on the IL. Like, he started the season fine, and he was out, and then he came back from the IL, and he was like on like a tear. Like, he couldn't not get a base hit. Like, for a week straight, 2 weeks straight, I think it was. He was almost hitting like 400, and then all of a sudden, it's like, I don't know, something happened. Like, they switched him with a doppelganger or something. Now he can't hit. I mean, you don't want to just give up completely on a player when you know he is talented and he's on a really good team. But this also, I mean, look at the Padres. The Padres over the past month have been like one of the worst offenses in the league. Like, how does that happen? So I would just be afraid that after the break, they're like, all right, guys, let's start trying again. And Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, like, I wouldn't want to drop Jackson Merrill. I just don't. So, I mean, I don't know who else you could drop, but if it's for Freeman, I would do it.
I will say one of my regrets this year is I got offered James Wood for Jackson Merrill very early in the season. Remember, Jackson Merrill started off the season red hot, like insane hot. And I was like, I can't do this trade. Man, I wish I made that trade.
Yeah, James Wood, pretty good.
All right, Jared Wade wants to know, which catcher do you like rest of the season? Hang it from the Langoliers or Augustin Ramirez?
Category. get similar production from them both. I mean, it's the power you're looking for. I'll go Langoliers though. I'll give the slight edge to Langoliers. I think he's more of a pure power bat.
All right. And then what about Christian Yelich? Is he a sell high? Satch wants to know. Like, if you could package him and Rangers Suarez for someone like Christopher Sanchez, would you do that?
Oh, well, okay. So the first part, yes, I think so. I mean, he's been so hot. And I will always doubt Christian Yelich because of that. And he was not doing so great up until June, and then he decided to go ham. But yeah, I would sell high. But you're talking about him and Suarez. You need a lot more than just Christopher Sanchez. You should get, again, realistically, you're not getting like Tariq Skubal or Paul Skeens, but I mean, a Max Fried at the least. That because Ranger Suarez has been really, really good, and Christian Yelich has been really, really good. You should get a legitimate ace. Zach Wheeler, Hunter Brown might be a good time to get Hunter Brown because he just had an actual not so great start. Yeah, Garrett Crochet, you should get an ace.
All right, and then you ready for our Bubba Chandler question? Is he ever coming up? And well, we got our weekly Bubba Chandler and Joe Boyle question. So is Bubba ever coming up, and would you rather have Joe Boyle or Bubba Chandler?
At this point, I'm not sure I even care if Bubba Chandler comes up anymore. So I'm just gonna assume no. I mean, he probably will eventually, but the excitement is gone here. I would still rather have Joe Boyle though.
All right, Joe Boyle it is. And then Drew wants to know, is Nick Pivetta a sell high, or are you keeping him?
No, I'm keeping him. This is a proven veteran. He's having his best season to be sure, but I don't think that's a coincidence. I'm keeping him.
All right, what about Ryan Nelson or Brandon Woodruff? Who would you prefer?
I like Ryan Nelson, but Woodruff is clearly going to have more upside here. So Woodruff.
All right, then Luis wants to know, Cags is starting to heat up, but he's also got your boy Nick Kurtz and your former boy, maybe, I guess, kind of, Spencer Torkelson. Sort of. Would it be smart to trade away Torque and Ramos for some pitching help and just roll with Kurtz and Cags?
Yes, I love this idea. You're good with Kurtz. He's totally fine. Cags, I don't know. I don't know if I can say he's heating up. He's got a lot more to do before we can say he's heating up, but he is a huge underachiever. The upside is there. I don't mind stashing him. I'm actually about to go, when I make my roster moves, go out and scour the waiver wire and see if anybody has dropped him. I would trade away Torkelson, and you want to package him with Ramos. I think that's fine. Again, you should be able to get a good pitcher. Now, that package isn't going to get you an ace, but you should get somebody who's a solid number 2 or 3 type of pitcher. Maybe a Christopher Sanchez. There you go.
All right, and then he wants to know, speaking of trade deadline, what from 1 to 10, what's the chance Mitch Keller gets traded?
Like a 9. I mean, why would they not trade him? And there's so many teams that need a pitcher like him. Yeah, he's almost sure. Like Sandy Alcantara, it's like a 10 out of 10. Mitch Keller is like a 9.
All right, and then Uwe wants to know, would you drop Tanner Scott or Emmanuel Clase for Palencia, Batista, or Henriquez?
You cannot.
Is Henriquez still getting saves, or did that dry up?
Palencia, I don't know why he's not like at least 80% owned. Like, he just keeps getting saves, and he happens to be on one of the best teams in baseball. What are we waiting for here? I would drop Scott for Palencia.
All right, there you go. And then Ryan wants to know, what's your thoughts on Michael Busch? Would you keep starting them going forward, or would you add Marcus Semien? Probably not. And he was talking about McGill from Milwaukee, so he was talking about the closer.
Yeah, that's Trevor McGill. He's the only other McGill. I mean, his brother is Tyler McGill, but he's hurt and not fantasy relevant. Michael Busch, would I rather have him than Semien? Yes. Would I rather have him than Arias? Yes. I dropped Arias because I'm tired of him doing nothing. Guy gets you no power, no speed, and he's not winning the batting title this year. And if he's not winning the batting title, then what good is he really? He's giving you like adequate runs and RBIs. Nah, get him off my roster. Yeah, Bush is fine. Just know Bush is one of these guys who's streaky too. So you can stream Bush and then be prepared for the cold streak.
All right. Are you ready to go flashback to 2024? Jaden wants to know, are we buying low on Julio Rodriguez again? Batting a whopping 247 with a monstrous 11 home runs this year. I mean, is this just who this guy is? Is this guy just an average hitter who's going to be overrated every year?
I mean,
or is he overrated?
In terms of batting average, yeah, he is kind of average. He steals bases and he has power. All right. Is he gonna maybe go off in the second half like he's done before? It's possible. I don't know how low. Here's the problem with Julio. Okay, is he overrated? I think he kind of is. Not because I don't think he's a super talented, great player and could be that, but he gets more hype than he deserves. Okay, so he's overrated. A little overrated. I don't know because of that. I don't know if he is a buy low. I mean, what is somebody going to take to give you Julio? They're going to ask for a lot. So I don't know if he's one of those guys. I don't think no matter what happens this year, unless he was just like Luis Robert bad, like hitting like 160 or something, I don't think he'll ever be a buy low because of the hype. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I know. He's one of those guys that has a name value, and that name value just, keeps him from becoming a buy low. Yep.
Right. Again, I don't know what you would be giving up. It would have to be pretty low. But I just don't know. You could try, but we'll see. Now, I think White Langford is sort of that extent. I did say try to get White Langford. He's been injured a lot, and Julio hasn't, and he's struggled some, and he didn't have quite the, he didn't have a full season of being good. So I think White Langford could be considered a buy low. I just don't know if Julio is.
All right, back to Dirt Boy. Trying to get rid of Jackson Merrill. If he packaged Jackson Merrill and Lucas Giolito together, what outfielder would he be able to get?
Well, Lucas Giolito is a great sell high right now because he has been amazing lately. And I am, if I had him, I would be scared to death that, it's going to all come crumbling down or he's going to get hurt again. So I think this is a smart move. You're not getting for this. You're not getting James Wood. You're not getting Juan Soto. You're not getting PCA. You could try again. I don't know if Fernando Tatis will ever be a buy low, and also it doesn't make sense you're swapping Padres outfielders. But I think maybe Tatis might be somewhat of a buy low. Let me see. Well, I just got in a trade. I think I called him a buy low last week. It was Lawrence Butler. Lawrence Butler got me 2 home runs yesterday.
And inside the Parker, did you see that? It hit the wall and ricocheted 90 degrees the other way. What the heck? What kind of wall is that?
They were saying he could have just kept running past home and gone around first again.
That ball hit the wall and just went legit 90 degrees the other way. The outfielders were like, what the heck? Yeah. But he did hit one legit home run last night.
So. Jarren Duran is a great buy low outfielder that I think is worth it. Is it going to pay off? It might not, but I think you should be able to get him.
All right, there you go. And then Anthony in the house. What's up? Wants to know if we covered Yuri Perez. Yeah, a little bit. And what do you think of Otto Lopez? Is he worth using as a middle infielder?
Worth using while he's hot. Just know he's a streamer. He's not probably a keep rest of the season type of player. Yuri Perez, yes, lots of Yuri questions. I still can't say I'm fully convinced he's going to be dependable for fantasy the rest of the season. Pick your spots with him. The upside is clearly there. So, we would talk about a guy like Mitch Keller, even if it goes to the Yankees or whoever, or the Cubs, he's never going to be the Yuri Perez, right? So, yeah, I think you can keep him and see what happens.
All right. And then Luis wants to know if the fantasy player with Tyler Glasnow says he's available for trade, what names make sense?
I would take him. Yes. If you can get Glass now, makes sense. Let's go with a name player. I don't know if you're talking pitcher or hitter, but let's say a name player who is good, but maybe not quite living up to expectations. O'Neal Cruz. I think that's a great example of a player that is fair, but I would rather do that. I'd rather have Glass now. Let's see. Realistically, Andy Pajes has been really good. I don't know if you can get Glass now for him straight up, but he's been good. So the stats show he's one of the better outfielders in the game. I would rather take Tyler Glass now than him. Let's see. I'm just looking at outfielders from here. I don't think you need to. It's going to be like a second tier type of player, right? Not your star. Of course, there's no point in trading away one of your best players because you're not improving your team, but somebody who's like a step below. Let's see. I mean, maybe he could trade Jacob Wilson and get Glass now. I wouldn't be surprised. Everyone loves Jacob Wilson, and I like Jacob Wilson too, but I like Glass now better on my fantasy team. So somebody like that.
All right, and then Anthony with a super chat, and somebody should let him know to check the league logs because a certain owner does not have Ellie De La Cruz anymore.
That's right. And a blockbuster.
We had a blockbuster. We had a blockbuster in the Endgame League. So, well, I don't know. There's a new owner of Ellie De La Cruz. Maybe he'd be willing to entertain an offer.
Hey, I'm always willing to entertain offers.
All right. Where are we at here? We got a dynasty question from Gabe. Just took over another person's team. He's got a great bullpen, but terrible batters. He's in last place. So what do you do in this situation going into the second half?
Yeah, you'd rather have that flipped. I'm trading that bullpen away. I'm going to trade to a team that's a contender. I mean, you're in last place. It's dynasty, and we're halfway done. You're not winning it this year if you have terrible offense. You're just not. Okay, so let's start planning for next year. Go to the teams that are in the top, let's say 4 or 5 in the standings, and see who needs saves, holds, whatever your league uses, and start dealing. Get young players who have upside but haven't quite figured it out. It's dynasty. You're probably not getting Cags at a discount, right? People are going to know better. Maybe a Marcelo Meyer. Realistically, you could get him for a strong bullpen arm, maybe, right? Because he hasn't quite broken out yet. Players like that could help you next year. If you want to get, take some chances on some stashes, guys who haven't been called up, sure, fine, I'll do that for relievers. But yeah, you're going to have to start now before the trade deadline, especially if you happen to have any closers or would-be closers that might lose their jobs when they get traded. I'm thinking like, the Kenley Jansen's, Kyle Finnegans, guys like that. Bednar.
All right. And then back to Jaden with Julio. So he got offered Julio for Wilyer Abreu, Reese Olson, and Sheehan in a points league. Is that enough to take Julio?
Yeah, I'm taking Julio for that.
All right. That was quick. That was easy. Take Julio. All right. And then we'll end with this because we are coming up on the hour with Ryan. He's got Michael Busch or Yandy Diaz can start on this team, but he doesn't have a roster spot to hold the other guy. So it's one or the other. Who do you want?
Give me Yandy. He's been not just really good recently, but he's going to be consistent the rest of the season. Yeah. Busch is fine to stream up and down. If you can't hold him, hold Yandy.
And then Anthony. Yep. Go check it. Go check the league transaction logs, Anthony. You'll see it. It was a definite blockbuster. Definite blockbuster.
Yeah, I hope I'm not going to kick myself for this deal, but you know what I'm bad at is taking my own advice, and so I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to hold to my player value. So we'll see.
We'll see. You never know. In the end, it probably won't even matter, to be honest. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, everybody. Appreciate you being on here. We're right about the hour mark. Appreciate a couple super chats from Durf Boy and Anthony, but appreciate all of you being on here and asking those questions, giving us a chance to do this. Don't forget, if you haven't checked out the videos, go check them out right now. And if you haven't subscribed, why not? hit that subscribe button, click that bell notification so you know when we go live. Don't forget, Friday, waiver wire video coming out, which is always a must watch. And then we will be back here Sunday to get you guys ready for, I guess, All-Star Week, right? It'll be All-Star Week. And I guess some 2-star streamers, although it's a little weird week for 2-star streamers because there's probably going to be a lot of them because it's like 2 weeks worth of fantasy baseball. So I don't know what we're going to do that week, but we'll do something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So this Sunday, probably no need to do the streaming video, but after that, we'll be back in town.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here on the weekend. Don't forget to check out those videos.